but some white people will say, well, look, pull yourself up from your bootstraps. Well, that dog don't hunt if you got all this stuff against you.
I call that
So
the bootstrap fallacy.
okay, so Manic, you there?
Yep.
Okay, now you said you wanted to ask me some well, you want to get my, I guess you want, I'm assuming you want to get my take on the question of race, right?
Well, kind of, sort of, yeah. I mean, it was usually it switches back and forth between us when we talk. I don't know why it's not doing that.
Yeah,
Uh,
okay.
but no, really, okay, there we go, there we go. All right. No, really, the discussion was. I think the discussion started with. I heard you refer to it as doing a live on you know being a white rapper and a black culture, because we ran across that comment from somebody that considered me a culture vulture for being a white rapper or whatnot. And I think that's how the conversation started. And we say, you know what, it'd be a good idea to have a conversation about this on a live.
It is a good
Well,
topic.
well, I mean, like for myself, it really depends on where you at with it. I mean, my own personal opinion. Yes, you do have culture vultures, but it's more business with the vulture. They're not looking at like say for instance, a lot of people will refer to Leo Cohen, one of the Jam or the president of Def Jam as being a culture vulture. He may very well be, but I look at him more from a business thing. What he care about break dance and I mean the four elements of hip hop. He may not give a fuck about that. So only thing I can do is just respect where he coming from, because he is kind of like exploiting the culture, but at the same time, he's not looking at it like how I do. So that's pretty much where I am with that. So
Right.
with a lot of those execs, with a lot of those executives, they don't come from where black people come from. They looking at it like, look, how can we maximize dollars?
Right. Right.
That's all.
That's culture vulture. Yeah, that's culture
Yeah,
vulture. When you
yeah.
go in there and you just using them for your benefit and trying to
Hmm.
profit, that's definite culture vulture. Beyond that, like anything below that, I mean, you can't call somebody I mean, we've got plenty of white. First of all, if we're talking about an art form, if we're talking
Yes.
about music and an art form, there's no one race that has a monopoly on any art form. So you can't really. Once it goes below people taking advantage of other people, um,
Yeah.
it, beyond their race and for their culture, once it goes beyond that and below that, no, nobody has a monopoly on art, or any kind of art form. So I just can't see. So that was just kind of a ridiculous statement, but that's at least how the conversation got
Yeah.
started.
But see, you know what? But on the flip side, how can I say that from a Cash Me Out state, Minnesota, you had the rapper Idea. He just died a few years back.
Right.
I can't call Idea a culture vulture. I look at him as a hip hop head. I can't old school graffiti artists like Upski and Scene and a whole and Zephyr and a whole bunch of them. I can't call them culture vultures. They actually helped build the culture through
Yeah,
graffiti, and Idea built the culture through MC, and so I can't call them that. But you have unfortunately, because of the history that the adversarial history that black people have with white people, any white person that dares try to say a rhyme or try to wear their clothes sagging, they culture vultures. So you got to look at the individual person and over the long term.
Yeah, on an individual basis. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Hmm.
This is the thing for me though. You know, it's a perfect example of a culture vulture, but who isn't an executive.
Who?
What's that girl named? Iggy Azalea.
Iggy
Yeah.
Azalea.
He's a culture vulture. your girl, yes, Jess Jules or whatever her name is. She's not a rapper, but she loves the black culture. But she's always crapping on black women. So you know
Who
what
is
I'm saying?
who is the name?
Yes, Jules.
I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar with
Okay.
her.
I'm barely familiar
Well,
with her. She says a lot of comments, against black women, but she hangs out with a bunch of black dudes and all that other stuff and loves the black culture.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
she likes to crap on black women. So
And see, the thing is that they have a phrase that they call it. You may have heard the phrase urban safari.
Yeah.
Suburban,
I just heard.
yeah.
I just
Basically,
recently heard that.
you got you got suburban kids that wouldn't dare go to a projects, a any densely populated black area. They wouldn't go there, but they can get a CD, turn on the radio, watch a video, and they think that they're getting a whole taste of black culture,
And
and they not.
they
But you're not gonna be able to tell them different.
Yeah, and
So
they can get. That's why the safari analogy came in, because they can get close to the danger, and the danger of the the hood, and the things that go on there, but they safe, they at home. You know what I mean? I heard that's
right,
something I heard. I feel like I heard Jay-Z say that, or somebody.
come on,
yeah. Well, it's common. It's out in the public. I mean, it's in the public. That is a phrase that's used. Urban safari. Many white people, not all, but a whole bunch of them that wouldn't dare. Uh, One day in black skin, they can live out their fetish or they imagination for a day, just simply putting in a CD.
Yeah, yeah.
Stuff like that. I always thought that was funny though.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. I thought it was pretty funny, just the comment alone, because I came up just around Princess Diana is from my area. Princess, do you
Hmm.
know? I grew up around 12th Street, 16th Avenue, over by the Enoch Davis Center. I don't know if y'all can see the chat, but if she knows where that is, she knows I grew up in the thick of it. And I've been all, my entire life. Like, you could go through my MC pictures. I was in Outsiders
Lion,
MC.
I mean,
They they were in we're under the One Percenter Club, Wheels of Soul, which is the biggest one percenter MC in the world that is multicultural. Like, they don't, you got a lot of MCs out there that, like, I think Outlaws, they don't allow anybody but whites. Black Spades, I don't think they allow anybody but black folks. So a lot of the MCs out there is segregated. But the Wheels of Soul is a one percenter club that's actually, they don't discriminate. They let anybody in, and that's why it makes them one of the biggest. And it shows that there is strength in unity. It shows that there is strength in people coming together and not segregating themselves like that. You know what I mean? And it was a prime example of something I got to see with my own eyes, and it's the proof is right there. You know what I mean?
Well, if you remember Manic, I had because I actually sent it to I sent a video to Snap Turtle, and I used the phrase "the sins of the
a little
father."
bit more awareness.
And what happens is that while I run with the Manic Asylum, I respect the wise one. The fact of the matter is that because the way race works in our country, to the advantage of a person that looks like you, to the disadvantage of a person that looks like me,
Mm.
you're gonna always have this, like I said, this adversarial thing.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if that's ever gonna be resolved in our country. And the fact that you got so much bad history and nothing has been resolved, or is it probably will ever be resolved. I think you're gonna always have that problem where black people always gonna look at white folks funny. White people are gonna always look at black people as if we're gonna come and rob you and rape you and all this other type of stuff. So I don't know what we can do long term to kind of cure that. I know for myself, I respect you and I respect the wise one and other white people, or if that's what y'all want to call yourself, I respect those people. And it's as simple as that with me. But I know for a fact that many black people, they're gonna always have an adversarial relationship with in Cash Me Out State, Philando, I think his name was Philando Castile. He got killed for no reason.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And these police shootings that's going on, and the fact that white people own everything.
Right.
Black people just we're not getting our just due. And so it's always gonna be will always be a problem. Put it like that.
Real spit.
And so I don't see this problem ever really getting resolved. I guess the best that we can do here is that the Manic Asylum, he wants to know what a black man thinks. I'm telling him now, honestly, I would say that, and I say this with black panelists, I'm actually more offended when black people use the N-word as opposed to if you was to say it. Because I look at it like, that's your word. The white man came up with the N-word, not black people. Give the white man back his word. If you really want to take the sting out of it, give him back his word. Don't make it like it's a term of endearment. We try to put sugar on shit. And that's how I look at that.
Yeah, but that same word is not the same word that they were calling us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, say that again, babe.
Is an Americanized word of nigga. And you see what I'm saying? Or is Nigerian. In a video or whatever on my channel, even
all right. What's the time? He needs to come clean that table.
It's N-E-U-S. They gave the definition.
Yeah, there's a history behind the N-word that goes beyond slavery. They go back beyond slavery.
Yeah, it does. It's Ethiopian. I swear it was Ethiopian. And royalty. But maybe I'm an artist. I've been in music. I do 5 shows a day and everything like that. I will rap their ass off like they cold as hell. And rap is really no different than poetry.
Real talk.
Right, yeah.
It's the same thing. It's spoken word. So, is it only that black people do poetry? I don't know.
And then you guys can take that elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's an art form. It's an art form,
Yeah.
and
certainly
no one race, and no one people have a monopoly on any art form. And
going put video behind it, and that brings
take the phone and get out of here. Listen, I told her to take the phone and get out of here because you guys are too distracted by the phone. Then clean it to clean up.
We're gonna wait for Snap to put his foot down.
I don't like when the word is just thrown around.
What's that, Cash?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I don't like. No, I'm talking about the word, the nigga. The word. It's not.
In there. Mommy will help you.
I'm not advocating for the word to be used. However,
what y'all laughing at?
It's some hood shit. I don't know.
Yeah, so I never use the word, especially in my rhymes. But going back to the cop thing that Derrick was talking about, Uh, I've done a couple of videos on the cop thing, and I've talked about trying not to deflate it into a race issue because, like, if you really look at what's going on, these cops are
Are you guys
a
done?
lot of them are psychopaths. Or might not be psychopaths, but something's wrong with the motherfuckers, and they're doing it to everybody, and the numbers show. I
Power
mean,
trip.
yeah, idiot power trip, and they want to be overlords, and their status. They got that status mindset, and
Mm-hmm.
they're doing it to everybody, and that's why if you notice any story that I ever do, it's usually on a white person being brutalized by somebody because there's plenty of black folks out there getting brutalized. So I try to bring attention to, yes, it does happen to white folks too. As a matter of fact, it happens twice as much, but that's also because there's twice as many white people in the country.
Well,
So it's
You know what, man? There's no problem with that. Oh, the sound went out.
we're here.
Oh, okay.
well, if I could jump in right quick, the thing is that I think Cash Me Out is probably more media savvy than me, but I think everybody has heard the phrase "if it bleeds, it leads."
Yeah,
And the fact is that 2 weeks ago, well, last weekend actually, a white policeman cold cocked a white woman, dropped her on her face. That did not get national. It just so happens I live in Philadelphia, and Chester, Pennsylvania is the next town over. So I saw it. So if the Snap Turtles in California, he may not have heard that. But these things do go on. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that Trayvon Martin getting shot by George Zimmerman, CNN will carry that. That fuels the race narrative.
yeah,
But on the flip side, I often cite Roderick Scott, who was basically a black George Zimmerman 2 years prior to that, but CNN for some reason didn't carry that story. So my question, being objective, why wouldn't CNN carry that story the same way that they pushed the Trayvon Martin narrative?
because
You got two teenagers, one white,
That's
one
not
black,
a
that
real
got
story.
killed, but ain't nobody talking about the white boy that got killed.
well,
So I don't know. I always say I'll let you judge.
yeah, it's because I believe there
A
is
real story.
a race narrative going on that is trying to drive a wedge. Like I don't know how far I can go into saying, the ruling class, the upper class. I don't want to get into all that, but there's definitely a race
That's
narrative.
what it is.
There is definitely a race narrative, and there is definitely an attempt to divide us further. And being able to use things like Jim Crow, things like segregation and slavery, and then piling on top of that exclusively, mostly airing white cops doing things to black folks, when you can go look at the numbers, you can go look at FBI statistics or whatever. It happens to everybody. They're doing this shit to everybody, and the news likes to cover things like that. Like the Young Turks are the biggest race baiters. I don't know if y'all know who the Young Turks are, but they're the biggest
I hate
race
the Young
baiters
Turks.
out there.
I hate
All
them.
they do is race bait. That's all they do.
Hate them.
They got a new YouTube channel or whatever.
And
They got this whole socialist Democrat crap going on.
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean for me, it's just, while it is true that for our numbers, we do commit a lot of ourselves. So when you hear that phrase "black on black crime," well, white folks don't really commit crimes to us. We do that more so. But when the police shootings, that tends to get the national spotlight, and that keeps the race thing going. But the fact is that I think anybody in Black America can tell you, if they're going to be true to themselves, they're not really worried about no white people coming to shoot them at night on a Saturday night. We more worried about somebody that look like me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, I don't know how we're going to ever get this thing resolved. What I do know is that it's something there. Now, what that is, we can debate that till the cows come home. But it's definitely it's a racial component. It's a media driven thing. It's lack of accountability for black people. It's white superiority. It's a whole gumbo thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let me jump in real quick. In regards to the whole black on black crime thing, I don't see it as black on black crime. I see it as poor on poor crime because
Okay.
anywhere you
Fair.
have poor neighborhoods, anywhere you have downtrodden neighborhoods, the crime is going to be higher, and you're going to criminalize or you're going to victimize the people in your area. So,
True that.
see this whole thing, and also the reason that they make national coverage of black people being killed by the police is so that white folks can continue to feel safe and secure with the police, to continue to trust the police, because once white folks lose that trust in the police, it's a wrap. They can't control anything anymore. So once we bring light to the fact that the police are in general just Gestapo against everyone,
Yeah.
they want to control everybody.
Yes.
Then there's going to be a problem. But more and more white folks are waking up to overall police, terrorism. So it can't last for that.
That's what it is. It's terrorism. It is domestic terrorism. Is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
these
you know
guys
what?
that come in and escalate every situation they're in. Almost, most of them. I'm not saying that, not all. Hashtag fucking not all. I know there are good cops out there. I've spoken with good cops, but
Right.
the majority of them, and there also is that saying any good cop that doesn't out a bad cop is also a bad cop, which I can't argue with that.
Well, you know what? I gotta I was gonna say that one of a video that I was gonna do maybe next week, but I can tell y'all now. A 17-year-old autistic kid was shot and killed in Chicago, right?
Wow.
And one of the Chicago police, he took the whistleblower thing and he said, "No, I'm not covering it up." So they messing with this cop right now. Well, that story got killed. But I read about it the other day. The fact is that they trying to crucify this boy for trying to do the right thing. So my brother was a cop, and he would tell you, like, they got to be quiet. They bet not. They bet not never. They bet not never come out and say nothing. They gonna hang him.
Are you talking about
You bet if you're a police, and you dare step off the reservation, they gonna crucify you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They have a culture of their own, the thin blue line culture. Are you talking about that Frank Siciliano guy?
I never heard of him.
There's a guy named Frank Siciliano that actually I think I came across it, Cash, when I was looking into because
Police Department.
Yeah, the Rosemont. Yeah, the Frank Siciliano guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she knows about him. Yeah. He got.
It was damaging.
Yeah, it was It was a crazy story. I can't remember all of it. I kind of scanned through it a little bit, but it was they definitely went after this guy because he was trying to. He wasn't with all the bullshit, and they were trying to work with the mob. This was back a little bit, maybe a decade ago, maybe half decade ago, wasn't it?
Just like New York, Chicago, it's certain cities. The mob presence didn't leave. No, they became police. You know what I'm saying? They became politicians.
Yep. Well, there was just
on a day-to-day basis, but behind the scenes, they involved in crime for real.
Right. And there was just a mob boss killed of the which family? I can't remember which family it was. It was just on the news. Mob boss got killed. So they're still in full swing, and there's plenty of them, especially the NYPD, got plenty of them in their pockets, plenty of them.
I bet.
I think it was Chicago. They just raided the police department or something like that. Somewhere.
I think I heard about that too.
All type of illegal stuff going on.
Of course, of course. These guys are some of the biggest criminals. These cops are some of the biggest criminals that there are, especially with the types of laws they enforce alone. Even with the victimless crimes that they prosecute people for, kidnap. I mean, it's really, when you break it down to simple semantics, it's like, well, simple semantics, that's a not. But if you break it down to the certain crimes that they will kidnap you for, or arrest you for, take you to jail, you can consider it kidnapping. You can consider it kidnapping because it's not a just thing. It's not a morally.
They don't have jurisdiction over.
It is kidnapping.
It is. It is. If it's a
It's just
victimless
like
crime,
you have the right to travel. You have the right to travel. You really don't even need a driver's license as long as
You
you're
don't.
not driving.
exactly.
See, they're trying to turn all our rights into privileges. Oh, my bad.
Delivering
My bad.
pizzas or whatever you're doing, as long as you're just going to handle your. That's just the truth.
Yeah. Hey, Cash. We're not trying to. We're not. None of us are trying to interrupt you. You are breaking up a little bit, so we think you stop talking here and there.
Huh?
You're a little low too, Cash.
You're a little low, and you're breaking up here and there. So if we start talking
hear me
like
really
while
loud?
you're in the middle of when you're in the middle of a sentence, we're not trying to interrupt you. You're kind of
I
like
on the
stopping
road.
here and there.
Oh, it shouldn't be. Oh, I was stopping because
See,
it
like
seemed.
I mean, you're freezing. You're freezing. Your internet connection
Yeah.
or something.
Oh, I don't know.
But I was just trying to let you know we're not trying to interrupt you if you're talking in the middle of a sentence.
Good. No, you
Yeah.
good. You good. I'm gonna go. I'm out just in case that's the issue. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but I definitely get frustrated with the racial narrative that is going on. But really, in my life, in my personal life, I don't see none of it. I see it at all. I see it all like on YouTube, on TV, a lot of media, things like that. In my personal life, I don't see it. I don't see.
Right.
I don't see black extremists. I don't see white extremists. I don't see people like that. But you see plenty of it on like YouTube. You see plenty of people like that. What's that one guy's name? Richard Spencer. That he went to a white ethno state. That guy is just
Yeah.
completely
They-
Yeah, I don't know.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
They exist.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Well,
they're
you
out
know
there.
what? They see, Manny, when you said that you don't see it, many black people will say, well, how could you not? The fact of the matter is, like, tomorrow is Sunday. I don't know if you ever heard the phrase, but I'm assuming I'm a little bit older than you. They have a phrase called 11 o'clock on Sunday is the most segregated time in America. Why is that? Well, black people go to black churches, white people go to white churches.
Mm,
But everybody say they believe in God. Now, if God is universal, I guess God ain't got no color.
right.
But black people go to black churches, white folks go to white churches.
Well,
There
yeah.
would be no need. There would be no need for the NAACP, the National Urban League, the Nation of Islam, the National Association of Black Journalists, if we were really accepted in the country. Well, we know we're not.
No.
But on the same side, like I always say at the same time, we ain't finna leave.
Mm,
We ain't finna leave. We're not leaving America, and
mm,
we not wanted in America. So what are we to do? So you got that dynamic. W.E.B. Du Bois had famously said, black people suffer from what's called a two-ness. We're not quite American, and we're not African neither. So what are we?
What you mean we not American?
So I'll let you judge.
We Native American. We is the first people that was here in America. They put all these slaves on a ship and they all made it with no problem back then.
Right. No, that's real fit.
Most of them people would have died. This is our land, and all those that are telling you to leave, I mean, bro, they can't tell me this ain't my land, bro. My grandmother was born like they were just natives in the tribe and all this and that, and there's like documentation to prove
Right.
this.
Yeah.
You're still breaking up a little bit.
They can go in depth now. You see what I'm saying?
mm.
So
But see, you know what? But Cash, but see,
No,
that's the thing. But Cash, you can, and your history would be the exception to the rule. Most people, most black people that I come across, they stop with their great grandmama. They don't know where they coming from. So so you got that type of thing going on too.
That's real.
like I'll tell you,
So like the question becomes, well, which way do we go? And if we supposed to be my brother's keeper, this is not to knock on Manic. This is just black folks talking. The thing is that if we supposed to be my brother's keeper, but we don't have no cohesion within that brotherhood, what do? I don't know what we do. I'm with Malcolm X on it. I think we're more American than we are African.
well, I
But
mean, to say everybody's running around like even that they're all the way 100% African American or whatever are claiming that they're not mixed. That's a lot. Now, look, white Derrick,
yeah,
if you do a DNA test, which I do not, I'm not advocating that you spit in a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Night night, Baba.
Night, baby.
If you ran your DNA, if everything was normal and they weren't corrupt, you
hmm
would know that you have European in your blood. You said this race shit. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Even under all this, we're the same.
yeah,
Now, Brent, that's a whole nother thing. You may have the same blood type as somebody that's white that hates niggas,
hmm
like it, but hates black people. And you know what I mean? You, let's say, Derrick, you didn't like white people at all. You know what I'm saying? But y'all really, you see what I'm saying? It's just this fake little war tactic that they've been using for thousands of years. That's my take on it. I don't hate nobody for their skin color. I hate you for the person that you show me.
yeah.
You want to be.
That's what I'm on. Yep,
That's my
real rap.
favorite quote by Dr. Martin Luther King. To be judged by the content of your character, not the color of your skin. That is one of my favorite
hmm
quotes that I've ever heard in my life, and
I've seen
and
a
I
lot of
think it applies. And I try to apply that like when I see whether it's a white extremist or a black extremist. I try to recant that same statement. What do why are you so hateful towards another race? We had an entire movement, and
we're all like,
yeah, and anybody that's today to a degree, we're all still a bit enslaved with wage slavery and whatnot. In my opinion, a lot of people don't quite agree with that, but I think I think a lot of people aren't being paid fairly, even the people with halfway decent jobs. But
Well,
it's
see, a lot of that, what Manic, see, a lot of that got to do with the fact that the system or the new world order, or whatever you want to say, the power elite or the elite, whatever phrase you want to use, a lot of that is being visited on white folks now. And so
mhm.
now they starting to get a little bit of taste of what black people been feeling since we was brought here. Some of us was already here, but the average black person on the street, white people are starting to catch some of that too. So now they changing up their tune. Remember, it was a time where it was being free white and 21 was a good thing. Well, not no more. So it ain't coming like that. So like you got white people such as yourself saying like, look, everybody catching hell, and you right.
Yeah.
It's like that. So it's one of them things. The fact is that
No,
eventually
what?
wolves eat their own. So
I'm gonna be real. There is a white nationalist movement sweeping the
Yeah.
nation right now. They are going overseas to link up with other white nationalists in other countries to talk about how they can get their white national.
you did
Yeah, they want a white ethno state, but that shit's not gonna
Yeah,
happen, man. There's no way that's gonna happen.
no, of
That's
course
never
not. It's
gonna
not gonna
happen.
happen.
You know,
It's not.
there's people that want a black ethno state. I mean, that's why I say I don't know how many of my videos any of y'all watch, but I say it all the time: stay away from extremist ideas because these people are extremists. They're radicalized, and they're thinking with their emotions, and they're not. Nobody's having intellectually honest conversations about things like this, and it's frustrating.
I'm gonna be honest with you, real quick, man. See, the difference between, I feel, from what I study and from what I see and what I hear, the difference between white nationalists and black nationalists is black nationalists want to have their own economy, have their own communities without and being left alone, without being harassed, without being discriminated against, without being murdered. Whereas white nationalists want to have everything and control everything because they think they're more superior to any other. There's a whole different. There's a difference, my brother. I mean, because you don't see it because you don't think that way.
No, there's a spectrum though. There's a spectrum of people that think certain ways, and you can't really, you know, it can't be conflated into one thing. There's definitely a spectrum of people that are actual completely racist and completely just ignorant to you know, there's definitely people that fairly say, okay, yeah, I want my own, I want him out. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but there's definitely a spectrum. It's not all like that. It's not all conflated into that one thing. There's a spectrum of just black folks that can't stand. Like I've heard it. Like I've heard plenty of it.
They've been conditioned. That's the problem. We have to understand that many black folks have been conditioned. Oh, you still talking? This I can't tell when people are talking or not.
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. See, many black folks have been conditioned to hate white people. That's just conditioning, going back all the way to slavery, to sharecropping, to Jim Crow, to the civil rights movement, and you know, just like some white people hate black people because they were taught by their grandparents and their parents. They heard at the dinner table, "Oh, that nigger ran over my avocado today," and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I got a story to tell you about that.
So what we have to do is we have to help people understand that there is a bigger problem than a white poor man and a black poor man. There's an elitist group. There's an elitist cabal that is orchestrating all this stuff. They're perpetuating it, and the last thing they want to see is us rise up as a people in general, just to, you know, and we can settle our differences later. Let's focus on the bigger enemy, which is the elite, right? The 1%. And then we can hash out any other issues that we have, because that's going to have to be addressed at some point. We can't just sweep it under the rug and say, oh, you know, we're all one and kumbaya, my lord. Right. There has to be some dialogue. There has to be something going on.
And intellectually honest conversation. Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting at. And I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something. Go ahead. I lost my train of thought there.
Well, you know, we have to recognize the real. You know what I'm saying? We can recognize the real and still be honest with ourselves. Like, I know Manic and the Wise One, right, are two white boys that I know are down. But then that's just two white boys.
I mean, technically, I mean, if I wanted to be like a lot of people that are hanging on to their heritage and nationality, I'm Sicilian. So,
La Fragua.
Yeah, I'm Sicilian. Salud.
Okay. Oh, well, you know the history of Sicily, right?
Yeah, they're conquered by the Moors, and there a lot of there's ugly things back in our past.
I can see the nose, too, brother. Yep. I can see the nose.
Yep. Oh yeah, it's my Sicilian nose on me. Yep. And I'm proud of it though. You know, I don't. You know, it's part of who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, no, I see where you're coming from. So Derrick said he doesn't know if that's ever going to end, like the animus between certain blacks and certain whites. You know, I feel like if we put focus on the real enemy, it can't happen. We just have to put the focus on it, because as long as they still exist and they're still pulling strings, this hate is going to be perpetuated.
Right.
So
That's what I was getting ready to say. That's why I keep saying not to try to not deflate the police problem to a racial thing. Don't deflate it to a race thing, because you're actually kind of giving them a cop out there. You know. Oh well, these. I mean, it's still obviously bad. I don't know how reprimanded they would be if they were found out they were racist, because a lot of their uppers are probably racist too. But if you deflate it into a racial issue with the police thing, and you're not looking at the numbers, and you're not looking at it, everybody's getting fucked over by these fucking psychopaths.
Right.
You're not attacking the real problem, which is these. There's a number of problems. There's another problem, whether it be training, whether it be the types of people, or giving them too much power, having them, giving them incentive. They have incentive to do these things and prosecute people for victimless laws. They have incentive to do these things. I mean, it's completely immoral.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If I could just jump in right quick, a lot of that when you mention the numbers is hard data, but one of the things I think that get lost in the numbers, the reason why they can justify that is because this is where me just being a black person and loving black people, I have the problem with us. The fact that we have so much self-hate amongst ourselves, we don't. A lot of us feel hopeless, and so it's nothing for us. Like what Snap Turtle was saying, the poor will eat the poor, and so the other black people will see, well, hey, police come in and watch these bad people that are terrorizing us, which would be people that look like me. So that would be the justification to come in and put the foot on the neck, if you understand me. So when those numbers come out saying, look, well, black people kill more black people than they do whites for their demographic. That's very true. That's hard numbers. But that's the justification to come in and again stomp on our necks because we have so much self-hate, if I'm making sense. You know, I hope I ain't rambling.
Well, it's conflate. Derrick, I think Derrick just dropped out.
Did he?
Or no, Kash. No, that was Kash. Kash just dropped out. Okay, she'll be back. I'll put the link back if she want to come back in. And I lost my train of thought again.
Yeah. No, I was just saying about the data. The data shows that for our numbers, 12 or 13% of the population, based on FBI statistics, it come out every year that we commit over half of the murders in the country. But most of those murders are other black people. So it makes the justification, hey, look, we need to come and police these people. They gone. So we got to go at their ass. We got to stop them. Because it's a justifiable public safety hazard. But we bring that on ourselves because we hate ourselves so much. Well, we hate ourselves so much because of the history that we had here in this country. So if we on this hamster wheel, you know, that type of thing.
Yeah, it's circular. It's all a cycle.
Yes. Yes. And again, you can go to FBI.gov and they come out every year with them numbers, and it's the same thing over and over. The National Urban League does this thing called the State of Black America every year. It's basically a report card on the social, economic, and political health of black people. And they always got failing grades. Black kids are suffering in school. Black kids suffer from autism. Black kids suffer from poverty. And so but some white people will say, well, look, pull yourself up from your bootstraps. Well, that dog don't hunt if you got all this stuff against you.
I call that the bootstrap fallacy. That's a bootstrap fallacy.
But you're not gonna get some on CNN and some on MSNBC and a whole lot on Fox to say, look, you should pull yourself up from your bootstraps where you ain't got no shoelaces.
Right. Yeah.
You ain't got
But
no boot.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, you don't have no boot.
Yeah.
So
I,
you have all these factors going against a so-called minority class in this country, and you haven't been prepared. You haven't been repaired for the stuff that you went through prior to, because it's an ongoing cycle. So it's just a lot of stuff that needs to be unpacked, a lot of stuff that need to be resolved, and I don't think our country got it in it.
yeah.
Well, this is my thing. And going back to the whole police situation, when I know you heard about the San Francisco Police Department having all those text messages, right? Talking
Hmm.
about
Oh
kill
yeah.
and all
Yeah.
that other stuff.
I actually I put that in one of my videos.
Yeah. So I mean, I need to go back. How many? I'm sure you got a lot of videos that you go check out. But
I went on a tangent, man. I did like a bunch of them.
yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. Like we have to recognize that what we need to recognize that there are good white people, there are good black people, there are bad white people, there are bad black people. So where it matters the most is who has the power. So
Yes.
who has the power
Is
to transfer their hate onto a certain group of people? That's what we have to recognize.
the elite?
Yes.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree.
You
Whoever
can't.
has the power has the most effect.
But you can't
on-
conflate that to race, though. I don't think
Okay, well-
that's the power grid. That's the people that are in power. Like it might be mostly white folks, but like there's a whole nation of white folks that have no fucking power too. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it's like
Yeah,
it's
No,
too many things get conflated into race is one of my biggest things. I think so many things that get conflated into race, and they cause disagreements among
Right.
people that are just that they lead nowhere. They
Right.
go nowhere.
My thing is we shouldn't fall into the either or fallacy. It's not either it's racist or not. It's there
It's a
can
gumbo. Yeah.
it's gumbo. I mean, we're not conflating it to racism. We're just recognizing that racism exists in these power structures.
Oh well,
Whereas
yeah.
very
Right.
top, they don't care. They just want to control everything.
Because-
they don't care, you know what I'm saying? And they're perpetuating.
Because you know what, I this is me. I subscribe to the Claude Anderson school of thought with regards to race. The fact of the matter is, I don't think anybody. The fact of the matter is, black people as a group, not in theory or in practice, can impose their will on white people. But on the flip side, white folks
They can.
turn off the generators. All they need to do is stop the food from coming in. Black people don't have that type of power. So when people say race, black people, yes, they can be bigoted, but when you actually want to move, like for instance, the whole thing of gentrification and redlining, white folks run that. Black folks, they wish they could,
Right.
but they can't.
But here's
So-
I'm not trying to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that was it. That was it.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. So we know, it's predominantly white folks that can control things like that do control things like it can impose their will. But my problem is when it trickles down to the average man like me and the wise one, and white folks that have absolutely nothing to do with that, and it turns into a argument against regular white folks, regular black folks like us. And that's where I say we have to cut the line with race, because we're talking about powerful. I don't know. There are plenty of racist douchebag white people out there, and there's a growing number of racist black folks. I know there's a lot of people that think black people can't be racist for some reason, but that's a fallacy in itself. But I think the effect of saying because there's a lot of shit, most shit, almost all the shit ran by predominantly white folks, to have any kind of beef with the regular average Joe white folks. You know what I'm saying? It's just saying it, because when you hear that, so let me flip it. Like, so if it was flipped, which is hard to imagine, I'm sure, if it was flipped and black folks ran most of the country, and
Mhm.
I came up to the average black man and said, well, it's black people that could do this to us, and it's just it makes, I'm sure it makes a lot of us feel like, damn, like, you know we ain't doing
Well,
nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
It's
see,
it
well,
just it starts
what ma-
arguments, is what I'm trying to say. It starts arguments against good people that could be coming together and uniting, and cons- really thinking
well,
about who is doing this shit and who is fucking us over.
okay, well, Manic, I would say this to you: the fact that Snap Turtle and the Cash Me Out Queen and myself are here talking to you about it. I guess we would be kind of like exceptions to the rule or unicorns or stuff like that. But we talking about the general population though. And the thing is that
Hmm.
I agree with you. I think that a lot of black people would just say like, no, we ain't trying to hear none of that. The fact is that y'all got everything and we want some of it. And
yeah,
we have not been
giving up.
properly repaired for the damage that have been going on for 460 some years.
Hmm.
And so until you get that monkey out, that 400-pound elephant out the
Right,
room, I
right.
think you're gonna always have this problem.
I agree
Now,
with that.
I respect you as a human, but
Right.
maybe another Derrick Williams say in Florida, he may not look at it like that. Now, is that fair to Manic Asylum? Hell no.
Hmm.
Of course it
Well,
ain't.
fair to
But
him.
but unfortunately, this is what I was I sent you a text where I said, it comes down to, unfortunately, the sins of the father. It's not right. I think I think that shit is wrong. But the
Hmm.
fact is that the white folks run it all. As a matter of fact, I always reference this professor by the name of Andrew Hacker, and back in the '90s, Bev Smith used to run this show on BET called Our Voices, and he wrote a book called Two Nations. I got it on my bookshelf.
Hmm.
He flat out told Bev Smith, like, look, we run it all, and ain't nothing
Hmm.
you can do about it.
Bam.
Now, as a
Well, they
black
do.
person, me hearing that, I saw red. But when I look at it from a strategic, he dead on the money. Y'all run it all.
Well, they
And so for that
see
reason,
that
it's gonna
right,
always be
right there when you say y'all. That's it right there. That's the keynote right there when you say y'all run it all. Because I'm not included. I don't run a motherfucking. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was
okay.
talking
Well,
about. What
elite
I was
whites.
trying. Yeah, what I was trying to say was it comes down to causing division between people that would should otherwise be. And I'm not talking about just us talking and shit. I'm talking about the demographic, the whole the populace that are
Mm,
actually at each other's throats right now over race, and saying y'all this, y'all that, when y'all is not included. You're talking to an individual. I'm talking about how much division is causing, and it goes back to the racial narrative of people like TYT and the news organizations that are pushing this racial agenda. And it's there's something intentionally being done to cause these sects and these factions here that are causing all this shit to make us go at one another. Like, not us. I mean, you
yeah,
you know you know we all friends here, but
right,
I'm saying,
right.
like, the populace, the people, we are being divided intentionally. It's fucking intentional. It's got to be.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Well, that's what I was saying. Again, we take us off the table because see, we here talking with you. I'm just talking about the broader population. And when I say y'all run it all, I'm not. I don't speak politically correct, so you have to forgive me. What I was trying to say when I said y'all run it all, the white establishment runs it all. Now,
Right.
Manica Solomon got a damn thing to do with that. But the
I
fact
know.
is that
And I'm
you
thinking that it's
Manica Solomon benefits indirectly off of that power structure. That's what I'm trying to say. Because when I go to the mall as
Mhm.
Derrick Williams, they may not look at the Manica Solomon the same way they look at Derrick Williams. So you do benefit.
Well, no,
Well,
actually they do. I actually get coined as Puerto Rican a lot, Hispanic a lot because of the way I look. So I actually feel that shit a whole lot. I get looked at the
but
store all
but
the fucking time.
okay, well that's fine. But anything but black. That okay, I give you that. I give you that Puerto Rican line. But
Even
anything
that,
but black.
It
even that is
wasn't a
different.
lie. That's real life. I mean, that shit
So
happens.
there are tiers, right, and levels to this, right?
The
So it's
spectrum,
not,
yeah.
there's tiers and levels. So the Mexican would be treated with more respect than the black man and the Puerto Rican. And there are different levels to it because you see,
I
if you're
think.
coming to the country to get a better life, they see that coming from a
Yes.
mile away. These Democrats, they see that coming from a mile away. They say, "Oh, we love illegal immigrants. Oh, come on, we'll give you asylum, but make sure you vote for us
Yeah, they
in
want the
2 years."
votes.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to recognize that even though you may appear to some as non-white, you're still not considered as black to some of those people, and that's a whole different dynamic. I mean, so we have to see what Derrick is trying to say is that even though you aren't part of that establishment, that you aren't part of that establishment, you know what I'm saying? He's still saying that you might benefit more from it indirectly. Like say a cop pulled you over, right? If a cop pulled you over and he pulled me over, right, the same day, and we did the same offense, I would get a lot more crap. You know what I'm saying? Or Derrick Williams might get a lot more crap. These are things that we have to acknowledge.
Yeah, but
With-
I'm a convicted felon, and I've been beat.
Okay.
I've had the shit beat out of me by cops, and ever since, every time I see a motherfucking cop, they fuck with me.
That's a different story. Even then, though, even then, a white dude convict might get a little bit more of that leeway. But we do recognize that cops, they're tyrants to everyone if they can be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But what we see is there's a whole. It's just the shift is different. It's a different shift happening right now, where everybody is seeing that everybody is having their rights violated. Like it's coming to the light.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Look at what happened in New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
Look what happened. It had nothing to do with black people. It was a white man and some Arabs. There were some not Arabs, but Muslims. There were some black people there, but look what happened there. It had nothing to do with black people. And what did New Zealand do? Within 3 days, we're banning everything. You know what I'm saying? Like the people didn't have anything to say about it. That's the whole country, not just black people in that country. The whole country was violated by this government.
Well,
you know
willfully violated. They
exactly
voted for that shit.
I don't think the people voted.
Or not they. I think there was I maybe not voted, but I think I saw like something to where most of them were for it. Like most of them were for it, like willfully, like, and they're just brainwashed to think it's okay to have their rights being ripped away from them.
Of course, they're gonna show you all the people that are in favor of it. They're gonna show you more people in favor of it than are against it. And now you got Bernie and them out here talking about, we need to follow suit with New Zealand.
Yeah, I seen that. Talking about the same shit.
Everybody.
Yeah.
That affects everybody.
And Manic, if I could just jump in, I always use the Minneapolis case of Philando Castile. I believe that was his last name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Question for you, Manic.
What's up?
Had a black policeman pulled over a white counterpart to Philando Castile and discharged his weapon, what do you think would have happened to the black policeman?
What do I think would happen to the cop?
Yes, because that cop, if I'm not mistaken, Cash can jump in, but I don't think too much of nothing happened to that boy. Not initially.
Oh no, the cops never get in trouble for that shit.
Well, there was one case.
Well, I mean, they not
so
never, but they rarely get in trouble for that shit. That's cops. There's plenty of black cops out there doing the same shit. There's plenty of black cops out there beating the shit out of their own black people.
Yeah, they are.
All right, so listen.
Bad. So a cop will fight your ass right now.
Hey, but look, there was a case, right? I'm going to bring up a perfect example. There was a case where a Somali Ethiopian black cop killed a white lady because he thought she was dangerous.
Yes.
Right? He just killed her. This man got fired, arrested, prosecuted.
Okay.
Real quick. Like they weren't playing no game.
Well, that same scenario happened to that one guy that got shot in that hallway, that hotel hallway. That dude got off too.
No, what I'm saying is the black cop that killed the white lady did not get off.
You
Yeah, they hung him.
In Minneapolis.
They did not play games with him. They did not hesitate. His ass was locked up.
White lady over north.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What I was trying to say was that the guy killed a white guy and he got off. But
yeah. That happens.
And somebody got the guy that shot the guy in the back that was running away. He got prosecuted. He got hung for that shit.
Yeah, Laquan McDonald.
Yeah. He got
right.
hung for that.
Laquan McDonald was his name. Yeah.
But how long did it take? It took like 2-3 years.
It always does with these cops.
How long did it take? That black dude that killed that white lady, they did not. It took 1 second. It took a millisecond to get his ass out of here. So,
I mean,
we're not saying that everybody isn't persecuted. What we're saying is that one group might be persecuted much more than another group. You know what I'm saying? Because they have to keep up. They have to perpetuate it. So they have to make it real. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
and what they plant seeds of hate in people for hundreds of years. Like this didn't come out of nowhere. This came out of 400 years of slavery. This came out of sharecropping, where we were still slaves, even though we didn't know it. We were, you know what I'm saying? This came out of freaking Jim Crow. Like this has been conditioned. This has been conditioned from generation to generation. It's not just something that the current government is just injected into people. This exists,
and all of that. Yeah, all of that basically is just everything Snap Turtle said. I mean, at least from what I take from it is that all of that is just to keep the current social order, white folk and everybody else after. And the thing is that while the wise one and Manic Asylum aren't in that 1%, you get residual benefits if you understand what I'm trying to say. And but on the flip, we'll acknowledge this. I think black people look for race under rocks. We good for that. We will look for race where there ain't no race a whole bunch of times. Matter of fact, in Washington, D.C., a white guy used the word niggardly, and niggardly only means miserly. It was spelled Niggardly. But because he said niggardly, they thought he was saying niggers. And for that reason, he fell on the sword himself, because black people got all up in arms. But when I went to go look up the word, it means to be cheap.
Yeah. So
we good for that too. So,
well, I mean, that's a little understandable. Niggardly, come on. You're acting real niggardly right now.
That's fucked up.
That's like an old English word. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm saying, okay, but the fact is, he wasn't using it in a racial connotation. The people on the council looked at it like that.
The only reason I know what niggardly is because it was in the Game of Thrones book. That's the only reason I know what that means. So it's
okay. Well, the question becomes: was he using it to be slick,
of course,
or was he using it because he knew the word? I don't know. But the fact is, he quit his job because the council thought he was using a racial epithet, and he wasn't.
I mean, they should be able to look up the word and say, "Okay, this is what."
Bingo.
That's it.
Thank you. That's all.
I mean, because
he was so ashamed, he quit his job.
Yeah,
I thought that was funny. You know.
Yeah. I mean, but you know, you can't prove intent, right? Unless they tell you what they intend to do.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Can't prove intent.
True that.
You know what I mean?
I mean, to me, obviously, we can't assume that.
Oh, Cash, you breaking up again.
Tubman wouldn't have been able to do anything that she did
without her white helpers.
I grew up with some white.
Yeah, no doubt.
Their family don't come from money, and the hood respects them for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As you know the nigga word or not, but so I've never looked at that. It's always like what somebody
Yeah.
that besides the fact that you have people that don't know who they are, this is the main thing that they're using to beta system. And you can't really be like racist. I don't think that a black person can't really systematically hold a white, like a black person can't systematically hold a white person down.
No, can't.
You see what I'm
Right, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Well, look,
or whatever.
Unless you have
You know
like
what
a
I'm
white boss, a black boss.
But no, but wait a minute. Let me
Go ahead.
actually
You breaking up.
attacking the same system that we're attacking as if it's bad or something.
Mhm.
I mean, it is. But people are involved in this. No, there's black people involved in this too, and
Yeah,
that's one thing that's very definitely overlooked.
They're bootlickers.
Yeah,
That's what we call bootlickers.
I
Yeah.
agree.
So,
they're all
man,
bootlickers. Even the white ones are bootlickers. They're all bootlickers.
I disassociate myself from bootlickers.
Facts. Just look at somebody's skin complexion and assume that they're, you know what I'm saying, racist, or you just got to go off of their behavior,
No, I got to get to know a person before I know if they're
Yeah.
racist.
read language, and energy,
Yeah.
bro, because that shit to save your life.
But look, you know what's funny? What I do, I disassociate bootlicking Negroes from the black community. I like R. Kelly or any black entertainer. I don't even consider them a part of the black community. You're off there with the elites. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I would do that. I would say I don't associate myself with these people. They're not part of our community. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. I mean, it's. But I will tell. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I don't know if you heard it before, but my grandma's white, right?
Right.
And this is how I know. You know, she used to call me little niggers every day when I pissed her off, and I pissed her off every day and often on purpose. She used to call me little niggers, you little nigger, just like that. Okay, because I'm gonna tell you why. She was upset because when she decided to go slumming in the hood to get a black boy, and she got pregnant, her daddy was like, "Oh no, little bitch, you cut off." They cut her off, and he was an oil baron worth millions of dollars. Okay, so because she got pregnant by a black man, she got cut off. You know what I'm saying? And now with a black man who's trying to make it as a singer, you know what I'm saying? My granddaddy was a singer, and now she's like, "Oh man, I could have had millions of dollars if only I didn't get pregnant by your black ass." And now here comes the grandson. You know what I'm saying? Giving her shit all the time, and she get to let off that nigga cannon. You know what I'm saying? So I have been disillusioned from an early age. You know what I'm saying? I have been. You know, it let me know how the world works, you know what I'm saying, behind closed doors, how people can be. You never know what people are doing behind closed doors. You never know what's driving them, you know what I'm saying? Like my grandma, and guess what? I had a stepbrother who was darker than me, blacker than Derrick, right? Darker than Derrick. And she never called him nigga. Never. You know what I'm saying? Never called him nigga. She treated him like a little prince. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I was just too much of a little asshole. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like you said, you can't prove intent. You know, you don't know what's in a person's heart. So
exactly.
No, you don't.
Precisely.
Sure.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I can usually tell when somebody's racist pretty quickly, though.
Yeah.
just by the way they say things and how they say things, it's not hard to tell. Usually,
no.
Well, you know, I tell a story for me again. As y'all know, I'm from Mississippi. It was till I was 7 in Philadelphia when I got called an N-word to my face by a white person. I had to come all the way to Philadelphia. I told Doggy Diamonds that growing up in Mississippi, we never saw no cross burners. I ain't see no he if you go, I was telling him a lie. I wasn't lying. We didn't see none of that. We didn't see none of that. Mama did, my daddy did, my grandmama did. We didn't see none of that in 1970s or 1980s, missing none of that. I got called an N-word to my face at the former JFK Stadium, play at night of Wells Fargo Center. Real talk.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
So
that's funny. In Philly?
All the way in Philly. I had to come up north. To Philly.
Wow.
Yep. So, you know.
My pops is from Mississippi.
Wait, from where?
Mississippi. My pops.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from Jackson.
Oh, that's the capital. Yep.
And all over Mississippi. Yeah.
Okay, well, actually my little sister, she work at a bank in Jackson.
Bank in Jackson, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a real combo,
Yeah.
where we can say, I appreciate that we can say how we feel about certain things, and it's just what it is. I mean, I don't know how to turn the tide.
I'm gonna go on and sign off. Look, Cash Me Out Queen. I want you to listen to this song called "Touchy Subject." I'm on a Messenger. All right.
I got it. I can play it too.
Okay, well, play it. Let Cash Me Out as the MC. Let her hear it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, look. Well, all y'all take care. I'm just gonna let y'all rock out, and I'll see y'all in the next hangout.
All right, Derrick. I appreciate you coming through, brother, man.
Yes, sir. All right. Peace.
All right, peace out, brother.
Bye.
Yeah, man. It's a rough. I mean, it's this. I think this whole thing started when I was on a live, really with Derrick, and he was just chatting. I think he was at work. He was just in the chat room, and we were talking about race, and I was like, maybe we should get on a live and do a live with you in there, because as you can see, I'm stumbling over my words and I'm walking on eggshells because I know it's a touchy subject. And he said, well, no, it's your live. You go ahead, you speak your mind. I said, well, no, I am speaking my mind, but I'm being very careful about my wording, because I've learned from social media that people misconstrue what you say. And I've seen a lot of white YouTubers that are not racist, that I know, that I've watched plenty of their videos, that they're not racist people. They look into statistics and scientific evidence and stuff, and they get called racist just because they talk about race, not even derogatory, not even in a bad way. They just discuss race and things that happen, and it's not just like black. It's they talk about all race, and they talk about religion and the things that the things that happen from religion and things like that, and they get caught. So I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to be careful, man, because I don't want that stigma on me, man. I don't need that. But I mean, there's a part of me that doesn't care, because I know if you, and it's laughable if if you know my past and you know where I came from. It's laughable to think anything like that about me, but I came up around it. I don't know if Princess Diane was still in here or heard me when I said where I came up at, but I came up in the thick of it, man. Right in the thick of it, and like just born and bred in the black culture. I was always drawn to the black culture and black folks. I've always had black friends. I've always been around black people my entire life. It just, for some reason, I gravitated towards the black culture, and that's probably what led me to the MC that I was in. It was refreshing to see, because I know how them MCs are, and they're always segregated. It was refreshing to see an MC, especially a 1%er MC, be multicultural and not let that shit, you know, let that racist bullshit in. I mean, when I went to prison, you see segregation like a motherfucker, but it's self segregation, you know. And like when you go to prison, you gotta stick with your race, and it's just bizarre, man. It's you know, and you know, it's the history's there. The history tells you why, you know. So we just gotta work through it the best way we can, I guess.
Yeah, there ain't no reason for you to be nervous and walk on eggshells. I mean, you just speaking your truth, you speaking what's on your mind. And I'm pretty sure we all appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I'm like, it's all good, brother.
yeah. I mean, I'm definitely not nervous. I just don't want to say the wrong shit and have people be like, "Hey, man, you racist motherfucker." You know what I'm saying? It's
Well, you
like,
know what?
which
You
is
know what?
again laughable for no if you know my history.
Right. But I'm gonna give you an example, right? I don't know if you heard of High Impact Flicks, Brian from High Impact Flicks.
Yeah, I know that guy.
I love his work. I love what he does. The only, you know what I'm saying, even when he touches on race and how they're trying to divide the country and divide, the race bait and all that stuff, I agree with him. But when it came to his reaction to how black folks reacted to the Gucci blackface turtleneck thing, I felt like that's when he stepped out of pocket, trying to tell us that we were being too sensitive about it. Like, that's where I draw the line. Like, you can't tell us how to feel when we are being offended, when you have no concept or idea of why that would offend us or why we'd be upset about that. Like, so that when he was telling us, so it was like he was offended that we were offended. So why are you offended by our offense? You know what I'm saying?
Right. I didn't see that one. I didn't see him talking about the blackface thing.
Like, don't tell me as a black man how to feel when people are attacking black folks. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's where I feel like, and I addressed it in his comment section. You know what I'm saying? I was like, hey, man, I hear what you're saying, but you can't tell people how to feel. I mean, you can, but you're going to hear something about it. Like, so if you're going to tell people how to feel about, especially a certain group, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand we're all human beings. Race is a construct, but everything is a construct. Everything that we put a word to, every word we use to describe something is a construct. So when people say race is a construct, well, peanut oil is a construct. Watermelon is a construct. We're just giving it a name. We're addressing a difference. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, okay. But when you say that, oh, y'all got too offended every time you hear the nigga word, or you hear the N word, you get offended. You hear this. I mean, you don't understand it. So, like, why do a whole 20-minute video crapping on us being offended by something? That's where I had an issue. That's something I would have an issue with as an example. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. But I've never heard you do anything like that. You know what I'm saying? You're just trying to. I see what you're doing. You want to help everyone understand that race shouldn't be an issue. Between people that.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not necessarily saying race shouldn't be an issue. I mean, I've philosophically, I believe race is a construct. On the flip side, I'm a realist about race. I know that there is obviously you can see people that are different races, and I just don't think that. I know that like we had the discussion about the majority of the people that run the world, and run America and pretty much the world too, for the most part. And I think that's trickling down to the common folk, and it's causing tension that is kind of like it's holding back the progress that we could be having to try to help like change that shit and do something about it. Because once we realize we're all getting fucked here, I think we're gonna come together a lot quicker and be like, hold on, wait a minute, why are we fighting? And we're gonna turn our attention to the motherfuckers that are doing the dirt. Well,
that's why I like alternate media, man. That's why I like, you know what I'm saying? Because you what do they call it? Alternate media? What do they call that? When you like not getting the news from like NBC, you're getting it from real people.
Yeah, alternative media. Yeah.
Alternative media, yeah. So I mean, as long as we keep pushing that, like I share a lot of stuff on Facebook. Now I got a lot of people that are just retarded in my Facebook friendship list.
Oh,
So
me
it's
too.
like
Yeah, that's a natural
like
thing. Me
I
too.
share stuff with them, and it's just. But when I show a cute picture of my kids, I get 8,000 likes. But when I show some real stuff, nobody wants to see it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really about the people being. It's cognitive dissonance. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
Yep.
It's just like, come on, man, wake up. Like, but I'm gonna tell you, it's not even necessarily white people in general that control everything from
Mm-hmm.
the very top. It's the other ones, the ones that
Yeah.
are over in Palestine killing a bunch of people on the Gaza Strip. That's where the issue. That's the biggest issue here. That they are at the top of the totem pole in
Right.
regards to. And I did a couple videos on Nancy. I did one on Nancy Pelosi,
Mm-hmm.
and I did one talking about Trump. Just I mean, it's easy to see if you pay attention to politics and you pay attention to what our politicians say about these certain people. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even talking about the citizens. I'm talking about the controllers,
Right.
where
Right.
they come from, the people
Mm-hmm.
that what I'm saying, who their ancestors are and who they are, and who runs the banks. See,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we have to understand. These big banks,
Well, that's
and
largely Jewish owned.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like the small hats, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
The Israelites.
Yep. Yep. The Israel. Yeah. And that's what I
Israel.
was saying. Like when when Derrick was saying y'all, and I wasn't trying to like get him with a gotcha. Like I got when he said y'all, I was just trying to say that's what those terms right there saying y'all control everything is what helps cause tension and it helps cause this divisiveness, and because the person hearing it takes it the wrong way, like y'all, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's what causes the tension. And I'm like, that's the only thing I preach. I'm like, let's stop with this tension and stop saying that y'all. Let's find who our allies are, find out who our enemies are, and let's fucking. I don't know what next, but I don't got it all figured out. But I mean, let's fucking calm down on the racial shit between us common people, everyday people, and let's
Yeah,
just
I
stop
agree.
fucking fighting about shit, that we had nothing to do with, because we personally had nothing to do with the past, and the things that happened in the past. So we need to personally fix the wrongs. And they're not fixing shit. They're not doing nothing about it, man.
Right.
The people in power. They're not doing anything about it. And people talk about reparations. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. Of course, they're not doing anything about it. They want it to continue.
Yeah, they're obviously pushing it, but very obviously pushing
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? So, I've always been one just like unity. Why unity? Why? Come on, unity. Come on. What the fuck we doing here?
Oh
It's
man,
just I just don't get it. But
you
I mean, I
ever heard of
do get it.
hair
I know
straight?
why, but
Go ahead,
it's just like fuck.
Queen, were you saying something? Cash? I thought Cash was talking.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay, I thought you were getting ready to say something. Um,
That.
yeah. Oh, this lag, man, the lag in this thing.
Yeah, there's definitely a lag.
Um, yeah, man, it's just. But see, this is where it starts.
Exit off
All right, Queen,
because the lag might be coming from me, but I'll just be in the chat. I'm probably gonna start my live
are you about to start a live?
in a little. All
All
right,
right, Cash. I'll jump over there.
all right,
Yeah, me
man.
too.
Much love.
Much
All
love
right,
to
peace
you.
out. Peace out to y'all. So yeah, man, I'm glad we had this dialogue, bro. I mean, this is where it starts, right?
Yeah, definitely, man. And I think we can grow on this, and do some more lives, man, because there's plenty of other shit that we could be talking about too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is an important subject, but Like I'd like to get. There's all kinds of things we can get into, man. You know what I mean? So we should definitely make a thing of this, maybe and try to do this more often. So
I want to start doing our own news thing, man. Forget what what I'm saying. Start our own little alternative media news thing. You know what I'm saying? Start down because it's just tiring, man. Like too many people, and you know what it is? The left right paradigm is a problem too.
I hate that.
Too many people caught up in this left right paradigm. It's like, what's wrong with y'all, man? You guys are nuts.
It's crazy. It's almost as if it was built for things to be divisive like that. Because we're going to build a government, but we're going to make sure there's always those two sides that are going at each other instead of having individuals that are just thinking for themselves and not saying, hey, I got this title over my head, so I think this way. And it's crazy, and it's intellectually fucking lazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, think for yourself. I don't understand why you got to have those. I mean, those little letters by your name, R, D, and...
it's I and
it's
I like that. See this is what they put in front of us.
Yeah, and they're definitely putting too much power in individuals' hands. I think I think there needs to be more councils. I think there needs to be more citizen councils. That make decision.
I was always thinking about like a council of elders. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They just represent what the people want in a small group. Like when you start doing this, and then when you do this mass mob rule and majority rule stuff, like where like let's break that down into different villages and everybody has a representative for that village. Like, look, y'all do what y'all want over there, but we gonna do this over here. Let us do what we got to do. You do what you got to do. I don't need you lording over what we got going on. You know what I'm saying?
And I always thought, the state, which was the intent by the forefathers, was that the states had their own thing, and the federal government couldn't step in. And I've always thought that should be like a thing where obviously all the states do their own thing, and then all the states look at the states that are doing good because of this certain thing and say, hey, let's adopt this.
Yeah.
And then, that way we can build, but it's not working that way.
Well, it was the Constitution. It was the Federalists back in the day, 70-something years ago. These Federalists came through talking about, oh, wait, we need a central government. And, I swear to God, you know what's funny? The first draft of the Constitution did not have a Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
That was put in place because the states wanted them there. Because every state had a Bill of Rights, had its own Constitution, had its own Bill of Rights. I felt like it should have stayed that way. It should just state to state. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I don't like what's going on in this state, let me find another state.
That too. Yeah.
Like it's just And even let's break it down even further than that. Let's go by city. Let's go by village. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Even the state might have too much control over. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how big the state is. So,
you don't want too much. You don't want to give too much power to too many over too many people, because that's where that tyrant mentality comes in for the people. Like, oh, we got all these people that we have to, and they see it as control. They see it as controlling the people, and it's not. It's the antithesis of freedom. It's ridiculous,
Yeah, man.
And they're now they're talking about trying to take guns away, and it's fucking.
That's why I'm moving to Missouri, bro.
I know, right, man? I heard somewhere they were getting ready to pass a bill that you don't have to have concealed.
There's several states. Missouri's doing that, yeah.
Yeah, Missouri's doing that.
States that are doing that. It's called constitutional carry.
And you don't have to have. That's fucking duh. I mean, that's personal property. Having your personal property on you to protect yourself with. What the fuck is? I mean, it's not that hard to understand,
You know what the problem is? It's just there's too many ignorant people. Did you see my video where I was talking about a senator or something? No, a guy from NBC was talking about the M16, the M14, and all these different weapons. He had no idea what he was talking about. He was saying that the AR-15 is more dangerous than an M14. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Same thing.
Well, no, the M4, no, not Mini 14, the M14.
Okay.
The M14 fires a 7.62 round, or no, not even that. It's a 303 or something like that. It's a much deadlier round than the AR-15. He had no idea what he was talking about. He was trying to separate. He was trying to say that the AR-15 was made for military use. It was not. It was not.
No.
They never carried AR-15s. They carried M16s and M4s. They did not carry AR-15s. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's just that type of ignorance that's being spewed out to people. And people believe that. People believe it. Oh, that's a weapon of war. And it's like, no, man, it's not. It's not a weapon of war. The AR-15
it was like 223, right? 223.
It's a 223/5.56. It's a very small round.
Yeah,
like
it's almost like a giant handgun, really. That's got a high capacity mag.
It's a black handgun that's modular. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can attach stuff to it. You can, you know what I'm saying? That's the only difference. You know, and you can shoot somebody with an AR-15 5 or 6 times, and they'll still be pushing.
Hey,
in a fight. Go ahead.
If you're looking for if you happen to be looking for a piece for your lady, there is this new 9mm out called a Taurus G2C, and it's a great gun, and it's only like $200, man. You can get a brand new $200 to 12 round magazines, and it's a like
I've even
heard,
carry magazines out here.
Huh?
We can't even have 12 round magazines in California.
Oh yeah, you live in Cali. Yeah, they got the craziest gun laws over there.
I'm not buying any more guns in California.
Yeah,
it's a waste. It's a waste. You can't. I mean, you can't even get modern pistols out here. You can't get a pistol newer than 2003.
Yeah, California is bugged out, man. They've lost their damn mind. They need to just float off. They need to break. They need to have that earthquake and. You get off there. They get out of there, and they need to have that earthquake and break off and be their own fucking island.
That's real. Yeah, man. Anyway, I'm gonna sign off, brother. It was good talking to you.
Yeah, you too, brother.
Very productive. It was a productive live, man. I mean, we a lot of things came out. I mean, we were able to hash out, you know, how we feel, and you know, it's all good, man.
That's a fact. And what I'm gonna do, man, is I'm gonna chop this up because the first part where we had all those technical difficulties, I'm gonna chop that off and re-upload it. So if you want to, man, you can upload on your channel and Derrick on his and Kash on hers. I don't care. That's fine.
Yeah, I'll do that. I just got to figure out I don't know how to share other people's videos on my channel like other people do.
I could just send you the video if you want. You can just upload it. Yeah. So if you want to do that, I'll send it to you after I chop off the technical difficulties and once we get into the actual conversation and shit. So, yeah, Kash. So.
No doubt.
Yeah, we'll do that. But I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you coming and talking with me, man. I really do.
No problem, man.
All right, brother. You be safe, man.
You too. Peace.
All right. Peace out, bro. All right, y'all. So I appreciate y'all coming through. Hopefully we'll be able to do this more often. I think it was a good conversation. Much love to y'all. Wax Dog, Snap Turtle, about to shade shower, catch y'all. Yep. And Cash Me Out Queen got a live going on in a few minutes, so make sure you catch Cash Me Out Queen and go subscribe to her. All right. So peace out, y'all. Much love.